The regular season's in the books. The playoffs are set. We're going to get to the show in a second, but I was right. All the seeds stayed the same, and we have our first-round matchups. We're going to break down Week 9 a little more quickly. Not that it didn't matter, but there is some things that we'll talk about, plus previewing those quarterfinal playoff matchups between our 8 teams and kind of explaining what's going to happen with the Muffin Tops. They're excited. They're excited they get to call someone out, so we'll get there. And I'm putting the guys on the spot to make their finals pick and then who's going to win it. So you'll kind of have to hang out for probably about a half hour. We'll get there in a second. But a good show, one of the more fun shows of the year because we get to put them on the spot and then see who's right and wrong. And we've all been there. We've all been right. We've all been wrong. But we'll see how much halfway crook slander we'll have today because Trent's back, Aidan, Evien, and Brandon. It's a full house, and I'm not going to allow it today. Dang it, I'm not going to allow it. Let's get to the show and break down Week 9.
Yeah. This is the Legacy League. Tell me what will your legacy be? Yeah.
That's it. The regular season in the books. Every team finished with a different record. No tiebreakers needed. Everyone's kind of in their proper seed based on the regular season, but it doesn't mean we won't have playoff upsets here in the playoffs. I should probably speak English. It's going to be a long show, guys. All right, Joey's here. Trent, Aidan, Brandon, and Evien. Let's start with the game that we kind of previewed might tell us a lot, even though the teams were kind of locked into their matchups. Maybe not their seeds, but locked into their matchups. The Cold Hearts fall by 1 to the Washed Up Boys, and that's a great place to start. 70-69, our lone single-digit game, margin-wise, from Week 9. And so definitely want to spend a little time on this one. Hendel a roll with 32 and 10. Only 2 threes attempted. He made them both. And so kind of talked about after the game being able to get downhill, and that was the key play as well. It's funny he mentioned kind of feeling that way throughout the game because that was ultimately how the Washed Up Boys were able to win it. The Cold Hearts, Justin Bianchi returned. He had 22. Steven Soulier with 22. And they shot 50% from 3 and just come up short by 1 point. And so I do kind of want to break down some of this fourth quarter stuff before we get to our analysts. But close game. Washed Up Boys up by 4 with 1:30 left. Bianchi actually gets a putback, so it was a rebound away from kind of maybe even getting more out of hand. Hendel missed a reverse layup, and then Carter Clifton hits a 3 to actually give the Cold Hearts a 1-point lead. With about a minute left, under a minute, Kayshawn Harrison missed a 3, and so now the Cold Hearts have the ball up by 1 with about 30 seconds left. The Washed Up Boys foul. They start fouling because now they're losing, and the Cold Hearts can't even get it in, so they get a 5-second call on the inbound. The Washed Up Boys get it back, and Hendel misses another layup, so that's 2 chances for the Washed Up Boys. And this is where it gets a little crazy. The Cold Hearts throw it ahead. We'll put these clips in there because I already know that we have them from a couple different angles. And trying not to get blocked, he definitely traveled. He caught the ball and kind of gather stepped and then forgot the go up part. And so he's just standing there, and if you don't go up, then it is a travel. And so another turnover for the Cold Hearts with a lead in the final minute. The Washed Up Boys take a timeout, advance the ball. We'll put the clip right here again. Hendel a roll, drives, and finishes in traffic. Cold Hearts take a timeout and are unable to get a shot off in time. They do inbound it, but Steven Soulier basically double-teamed with 2 seconds left, and that's how it ends. So a crazy finish. That's the speed version, but you can go watch it on YouTube. The full feed is there. Let's go Evien first for this one and kind of what stands out about the Cold Hearts and Washed Up Boys.
I think that it was probably the best game of the day, I would say, by far. But even the Cold Hearts getting they were out rebounding the Wash Up Boys, and the Wash Up Boys still were able to kind of just come away with a victory. I thought that was really impressive, especially with Hendel's performance, 32 and 10. I think that's what definitely got it done.
Yeah, standout performance. Hendel a roll, kind of taking the reins, especially with Kayshawn Harrison, 21 points, 7 of 20 from 3, and had some good looks. And so, that's still not a bad percentage. It does the math for us, 35%, and that's kind of right around the average, right? But you would like to make more of those when you're taking that many. And they're in rhythm. He's not forcing these threes. Yeah, Brandon, what impressed you? What stands out? I mean, the Washed Up Boys, pull off some magic, get the ball to bounce their way, and get the win.
Yeah, I mean, great game. As Evien said, best game of the night. I agree. Cold Hearts, they shot 50% from three. I mean, that's definitely going to keep you into the game. They had, I believe, four people shoot more than four attempts, so that's pretty good for them. I got nothing much to say about the game. I mean, I thought it was a great game overall. Just that the Cold Hearts just got to clean up the messes at the end of the game and close the games out better.
And this goes back to that point. So let's go to Trent, and I'll save Aidan because we'll do bigger picture and just I already know where Aidan's going to go with this because we've been here, done that before, and kind of what this means for the playoffs. Trent, go wherever you'd like, but the Cold Hearts right there, right? And so they are the 5 seed. They'll take on the halfway crooks in the quarterfinals. The washed up boys already had the 2 seed. Their lone loss to Lob City, and they will get the Air Mambas in the first round. But Trent, I mean, what are you taking from this game? Because, there's positives and negatives kind of both ways, right? The washed up boys really haven't looked the same since that Lob City mess. And I said it to Hendo. I said, I'll say it. That wasn't a good performance. You don't have to, I'm not going to put him on the spot like that in that interview to kind of bash himself, but that wasn't how they wanted to play. And he agreed, right? That's not breaking news. Haven't really looked the same since then. And I mean, the shooting, they made more shots. 10 of 31. I wish they would shoot 10 of 31 against the halfway crooks, damn it, right? Like that that's a decent percentage, but usually when this team is rolling, they're making more shots, right? And for the Cold Hearts, they strung some wins together. They had a couple close losses, and this one adds to that resume of close losses for the Cold Hearts where they're right there. They're right there and could easily have kind of upset some of these teams. So now with the playoffs here, what does it say about both of these teams?
I see it from both perspectives, man. Honestly, I'm going to go a different perspective of Cold Hearts. I think Cold Hearts should be worried. I think they're a first-round exit. Even though they won the game before, I believe, against the Our Warriors. Our Warriors didn't have their best player in Kevin. Then you blow a lead against a great team, don't get me wrong, the second best team in the league, and the Washed Up Boys, but you still managed to lose this game at the end of the day. So I think this is bad. I got a bad matchup against Halfway Crooks. I think Halfway Crooks wins that game. And for the other team, the Washed Up Boys, I look at it as a negative and a good thing. Like, they're probably thinking we're already locked into that second seed, right? We're gonna get this matchup. This is the last game of the regular season. We got to get ready for the playoffs. But then also you can look at it as, well, maybe maybe Lob City took the air out of them, man. They got destroyed. The score doesn't say it, but if he was there, they got destroyed. And then you come into this week and it's like, You're in a battle with the Cold Hearts, which you shouldn't be. That should be a blowout game where you put a statement and get ready for the playoffs. So I see it from both perspectives, man. But I think the Cold Hearts should be worried, and the Washed Up Boys they're gonna win their first round matchup. So we'll see what happens after that. But yeah, actually rooting for you now, Joey.
I was gonna say, what a difference a week makes, Geez, if you listened last week, I was not a happy camper, and I didn't do anything. I didn't have to. It's pretty crazy how what one game does. Yeah, I mean, both teams will have a chance to kind of right the ship in the playoffs, and that's how this works, right? Everything else goes out the window. The power rankings don't matter. It doesn't matter really what you did in the regular season, and we've seen lower seeds than a 5 seed. Sure, there was more teams in those seasons, so it's probably about the same team talent-wise. The Road Dogs and the Duyays boys are very similar to this Cold Hearts team where they have the talent, they have the pieces, kind of some close games didn't go their way, and they put it together, and it's on both ends of the floor, and it's, kind of like seeing a different team. So every team has that opportunity, especially these two teams, have a game to get right before the semifinals where it's sure to be, the best 4 teams left, right? That's how this works. Aidan, all right, so we talked about it. The Washed Up Boys up by 4. Cold Hearts up by 1. We talked about those 2 turnovers, the 5-second violation on the inbounds. You just have to throw it in. Then a travel when they had the ball, and the Washed Up Boys, we kind of know we're going to foul, and you can turn it into a free throw shooting contest. Hendel LaRolle does what we expect him to do and ultimately gives the Washed Up Boys the win. What does it say about both of these teams with kind of how that last minute 30 played out?
So, as we're sitting at the scoring table, Evie and Brandon and I, like we said, it was a good game. But Leroy's right there, and he goes, for who? And I think that's what both teams need to take away from this, is that, yeah, the Washed Up Boys have had a poor last couple weeks. This week, they were a little better. But again, a 1-point game with a team that shouldn't be in a 1-point game with them. No offense to the Cold Hearts, they're still great, but it's like the Washed Up Boys are a top team in this league, and they just kind of, I think they're getting the pieces together. But again, like Leroy said, for who? Neither team had a great game this week. The Cold Hearts need to manage game management. That's the only thing we need to say about them, because they can make their shots. Carter looked a little off. He wasn't driving into the basket. Sometimes it happens. It's okay. Maybe that's not his game. But you have to work to your strengths. And if that's not his game and he's dishing, cutting in backdoor cuts and he's not putting it up, kind of have to differ with that. And as for the Washed Up Boys, Hendel is 73% from the field. A fantastically efficient night. It looked like any time he was going to the rim, he was going to make it. And I think that's what they need to continue doing in order to make a deep run. With Kayshawn, he's going to live and die by the 3, 7 of 20. That's RI Warriors numbers. But he can make them. I would like to see him drive in a little more, but if his game's strictly threes, play the threes, plays to your strength. Now, looking forward, they both have some interesting matchups in the first round, quarterfinals, I should say. So I'm interested to see how the Washed Up Boys play against a lower-seeded team, and I'm interested to see how the Cold Hearts and Halfway Crooks match up again as they've previously met before.
We'll talk more about those in a second. The Cold Hearts Halfway Crooks will more than likely be a close game. So they will have a chance to kind of redeem those game management skills in that matchup, because the last 2 times these teams have played, it's been overtime and a close one. And so I would expect the playoff game to be very similar to those 2 previous matchups. They will face off at 8 o'clock next week, and the Washed Up Boys get the Air Mambas right after that at 9:15. We'll talk about these teams more, I'm sure, as we preview the playoffs. Let's get to another Week 9 matchup. We'll just start going in order. Let's do some Road Dogs, Gym Rats, and what kicked off Week 9. 100-70. I don't know. There's got to be some scores that we don't see often. It's just 2 even numbers. So 100-70, the Road Dogs, and they, the first quarter, second quarter, it was a single-digit game at halftime, and then a big third quarter. They end up blowing it open and win by 30. Brandon Whitman with 32. Cam Grilly, 7-12 from 3, was hitting his shots, and they'll need that. We're going to talk about who they get in a second. It's Lob City. And so they will need Cam Grilly playing this way, and it's so funny. I was talking to John on my team, not to bring this back to the Halfway Crooks every single time, but it's so funny. All the new players, it takes them the full season because it's only 8 weeks, and by week 8, game 9, the playoffs, you see players feel a lot more comfortable in the league, and then the season's over. And so it's kind of well, that's what happened during everyone's kind of first season. There's that adjustment period, and it usually takes, the full season. So it's funny, you can almost predict a game like this from Cam Grilly. So 30 points, 7 threes. That's what we expect from him now. So good luck with that. Kind of keeping that up. Kevin Views led the way with 27. Kareem Cooper with 24 and 13. Devon Bailey with 18. Rashid Sanchez with 12. We'll kind of split up the analysts here. So let's do Evien. The Road Dogs, they are the 3 seed. They'll get the RI Warriors, who were off this week, so coming off their bye. But the Road Dogs, how did they kind of blow it open, Evien, in that third quarter and really kind of, get this game to where they wanted it to be?
I think they just put their foot on the gas pedal at the third quarter, because I think it shouldn't have been close by halftime. But unbelievable game for Kevin Views, for 50% from the floor, 27. He's leading the league in assists as well, so he still got his assists, some rebounds as well. I think that's what really stands out to me. And they weren't even shooting that great from 3. They shot 28% as a team, and they still got the job done. I think that's going to show in the playoffs that they don't have to just rely on the 3.
I like it. I think, the Road Dogs, it's almost going to be kind of flipping a switch a little bit with them. If they get all their guys there and are able to kind of get this rotation down, because they have a lot of pieces, they will be a interesting team come playoff time, especially after what they did last season. Again, having the pieces, and it really started on defense for them last year, so we'll see if that's a similar thing this year when they get the RI Warriors. Trent, I'll put you on the spot with this one. We'll save the other 2 for the other game. Gym Rats, impressive in the first half. You can go that direction. You can go Road Dogs. No predictions yet. Save them. Make them wait. But, a good performance in that second half by the Road Dogs for sure.
Yeah, man. I mean, the Gym Rats have two great players, but it's just not going to get the job done, man. A lot of these teams and on the roster, they have 3 to 4, 5 deep, and without their big man and Antonio Martinez, it's going to be tough. Record don't lie, man. I mean, they're 1-7 for a reason. They came and got destroyed. I mean, they kept it a good game. I mean, for 2 quarters, and then Road Dogs finally came and say, "Listen, we're showing y'all why we're the top dogs," and they only allowed 11 points. So I mean, great defense from Road Dogs. They have a lot of experience on that team. It'd be interesting to see how this Gym Rat team could come back from this performance. I mean, losing by 30 points heading into the playoffs can be very draining, very draining. So we'll see what happens with Gym Rats, but yeah, I got a lot to say about the road, not the Road Dogs. I'm sorry, the Road Dogs. Yeah, the Road Dogs. Sorry, coming up because I think they're very interesting. So yeah.
Oh boy, he's gonna get the Road Dogs flag out. Oh boy, we'll save it. We'll get there. He's gonna be their number one fan. All right. The defending champs, the Road Dogs, will have a chance to defend their title, starting, like I mentioned, in that 3-6 matchup against the RI Warriors, and that game will end our quarterfinal night, taking place at 10 o'clock on February 18th. We talked about the Gym Rats and them being in that 8 spot. They will get Lob City, which we're going to save that Lob City game, the last game of Week 9. We'll do some halfway crooks now, but it will be Gym Rats and Lob City kicking off the quarterfinal night at 7:15 on Tuesday night. All right, I told you we were going to move a little more quickly. Let's get to the halfway crooks playing the Air Mambas for a second time this season because I screwed everything up. But an interesting game, and it felt like some shots were falling. Let's see. Well, actually, Trent's not going to talk in this one. This is great. So he can't, blow his cover on the halfway crooks bandwagon now. He's like secretly driving it. But let's get to it. The halfway crooks get the win. 79-61, halfway crooks defeat the Air Mambas. They lock up the 4 seed. They were in that 4-5 either way. And a big first quarter and, kind of opened it up. And then we're really able to keep it at that 10-point game. Fourth quarter got a little interesting for a second. We started having flashbacks because the Air Mambas started making a ton of shots. But Nick Lemoyne with 28 and 13 led the way. Terrence Gallo didn't miss a shot, 14 and 4. And 8 for 22, so I totally lied. That's like average for the halfway crooks, so they'll have to pick that up. 8 for 22 from 3. Dominated on the glass is putting it nicely. 38-23, so that helps, right? When you're able to get a lot of the misses, and only 40% shooting from the floor for the Air Mambas. Just an off night, and then add in like they didn't have the size, and we're missing some guys, and yeah, a recipe that you don't want to, replicate going into the playoffs. But Luis Ramirez, Mario Valerio, and Say Rosado all with 16 points. So, again, these guys get the washed up boys. The Air Mambas do, and it will be halfway crooks and cold hearts. All right, Brandon, halfway crooks. What impressed you?
I was impressed about the team basketball you guys were able to play. You guys had 6 players shoot more than 6 attempts, so you got to try and get everybody involved. And more importantly than that, there was more of efficient. Everybody scored the ball efficiently, and you guys didn't turn the ball over a single time, which actually shocked me. Actually, no, I'm sorry. You guys had 9 turnovers. I was looking at the wrong column. 9 turnovers, so you guys got to pick up on that. But the Air Mambas, they just got to pick up the efficiency. They shot 27% from 3, or 25% from 3, excuse me. That's not going to cut it, especially in the playoffs when they're playing a good team. So if the Air Mambas could just fix the efficiency, fix the 3-pointers, then I think that they'll be good for the playoffs. Halfway crooks, just keep being efficient too. I mean, you guys got a tough matchup against the Cold Hearts. I honestly think it's going to be a closer one than most people think. So we're just going to have to wait and see.
Yeah, and again, we're going to preview those and put everybody on the spot. Aidan, go wherever you'd like. We talked about a lot of the stats. Really an everything going right game for the halfway crooks, and then couple that with, the Air Mambas not being able to string a couple threes together when, if they had, then things get interesting because they're able to kind of make a dent into that deficit. But yeah, this is Aidan's chance just to jump on and hold on to Trent on the halfway crooks bandwagon. Go ahead.
Well, like the halfway crooks, this was their game, but the second quarter is where they almost lost it. Like we said, they put up 30 in the first quarter. They were up 15 going into the second. Now both teams scored under 12 points in the second quarter, but still, it's kind of a lot of team defense and offense. And you're sitting there, you're watching it. Nick Lemoyne, he only shot 3 threes. That's not him. He's usually shooting 5 to 6, 2 of 3, which is fantastic for him. And what I really liked is, I know this is you guys have already played and the seeds have already been set, and the Air Mambas, they're a good team, but they're not a great team. They don't really mesh well right now. But Jared was making Nick accountable for the misses or accountable for any type of play that went wrong. And that vocalness and leadership is what I think willed you guys and helped you guys actually get the win. He won by 18. It's a pretty big margin, but like I said, you only put up 8 points in the second. It's kind of just finding your shots, getting in rhythm, and I think the accountability works. Now for the Air Mambas, they put together an okay season, finished 2-6, I believe, and it's just they don't really play a lot of team basketball, and that's been a reoccurring theme. That's why I got called out on it before, but I'm just speaking the truth. If they all get the shots up, no one took more than 12 shots, but it's a lot of eye basketball. It's a lot of ISOs or just not going back on D, standing still on the paint or even on three-pointers. And they have to kind of reevaluate what they're doing. Now, hopefully this loss gives a little fire to them going into their playoff matchup, but who knows?
Well, the good news is if anybody gets hot, if the washed up boys, and this is not a shot at all, but you can enter team number 1 here if they don't make a ton of threes, and then team number 2 does make a ton of threes. That's how upsets happen, whether it's in March Madness, it's in the NBA on a Tuesday night, or it's in the Legacy Leagues. And you may not think that because of the size of the height of the rim, but that is the case, and threes can be the equalizer for sure. You talk about that leadership, and it's so funny. There's kind of different levels to the way teams communicate, right? And some teams, when they're calling each other out, it's not really a good thing because maybe they don't have that relationship. And so you have to kind of know the context, which you nailed it spot on. But any kind of conversation between those guys on the halfway crooks, it can be said in the worst way possible, and it's taken the right way, right? And so it may not sound like it's going well, but it's because, the expectations are to win some of these games. And we know how important, a game that didn't matter for the standings, we were able to work on some stuff and kind of hopefully carry that into next week when we need it. All right, the last game of the night, Lob City and the Muffin Tops. And lots of highlights from this one, both ways. And it is Lob City capping off another undefeated regular season. Lob City 117, the Muffin Tops 78. I didn't even get the box score open yet. Noah West doing his thing and almost kind of taking a little bit of a backseat, only 15 points. We mentioned Cody Crawford, 40, 15 assists and 12 rebounds. Well, we may have talked about Cody before the show, sorry. So here we are mentioning Cody, but I know that's what I was getting at. Before we came live, we talked about Cody Crawford. He did get his 2,000th career point, becomes only the 3rd player in league history to do so. So shout out to him. It's only right. Also mentioned Victor Cashew Jr. with 32. He joins the 1,000-point club. I believe he's the 13th player. Well, that's a lie. He's the 13th player plus 3. Or plus 2 more, so 15th or 16th, because the 2,000-point players also had to have scored 1,000, so I kind of counted wrong in my stat. But he's the current 13th player with 1,000 career points to reach that milestone in the league and across all leagues, so shout out to him as well. And Almar Sabat with 26 and 10. For the Muffin Tops, Matt Dagnall, 41 and 11, and so kind of really just hitting that mid-range. All game, Jonas Williams with 20 and 10. Frank Smith, who I know listens, was like, I can't believe I didn't score. Talking about that last week's game against the RI Warriors. So shout out to him, 8 points and 13 rebounds in this one, and he made sure to get in the scoring column this week. Let's put these two guys on the spot. Brandon, because we will be doing our predictions any minute now. But Brandon, in this one, just one key and kind of if you take anything from this game or what stood out for Lob City.
I think a key takeaway is to be scared of everybody. I mean, did you see what they did without Noah West with the keys in his hands? I mean, Cody Crawford was the one to drop 40 points. I mean, anybody could do it. Victor Kashu had 32 also. I mean, literally anybody could just be a dominant force for that team, and just be scared of them. That's all I gotta say.
Should always be scared of the top seed. They're the top seed for a reason. Evien, go ahead, because it's your guys' first time, and Trent, but it's your guys' first time, kind of seeing this Lob City machine, right? And so sure, everyone was kind of cruising this game, and so not that you're going to pick apart this game, but we are going to start to do that in the playoffs when I promise you will see an even more intense Lob City team if that's possible. It is. And so Evien, in week 9, what stands out from this matchup?
Kind of going off what Brandon said, Noah West was kind of taking a back seat, but in terms of scoring, but really just affected the game everywhere else. Had a near triple-double, or actually did have a triple-double. With 15 points, he only missed 2 shots. And then you get to see, like, if Noah West is having 15 points and his teammates are, 2 of them combined for, 70, that's scary. So I think other teams have to really watch out for that because they're going to be dominant from top to bottom.
Oh, yeah. It's almost the Lob City Invitational coming up because of how many of these things they've won in Rhode Island. 8 of the 10. So it's kind of the Lob City Invitational. And they are 8-0 in the finals. And I like to bring that up. It's a good stat. So if they are undefeated in the finals. So you better get them before then, right? For the Muffin Tops, I teased it last week. I talked to the guys, and they're excited about it. So they will not be playing the quarterfinal week, but their opponent is unknown because they get to pick a team that loses in the quarterfinals to play an exhibition game on the semifinal night. So they get to call somebody out, and I'm sure that other team is going to accept because why wouldn't you? And so they're going to get to pick their opponent, and then we get to see them play another time, again, on that semifinal night against a team that they get to pick, and we will hopefully have that team. I'm sure I will. I'll have that team on next week's show as long as I can get in touch with everybody ahead of time. All right, let's do it. Let's do some playoff previews. We told you it was coming. We have the matchups. I'll rip through those quickly, and we'll have you guys I know what we'll do. We're going to pick these quarterfinal matchups quickly, and then we'll go back around for your finals picks. Get ready. It's playoff time. All right. We'll just go in order. I'm having you guys pick a winner, and you get one word, so have fun. We'll do the quarterfinals. You get to pick a team and one word why. It's my favorite thing, our one-word game. This will keep it moving. I'll give you a little more time to pick your finals matchup and explain and who you have winning the whole thing after. Okay, so starting off the quarterfinals, Lob City, our top undefeated seed. Get the 8 seed Gym Rats. We'll go around. Evien first. Who you think is going to win that one, and one word?
Going with Lob City. My one word is undefeated.
All right, nice and easy. Brandon.
Also going to go with Lob City. My one word is domination.
All right, see, this is why it's good. You might be wondering, well, what do you mean? Well, you're going to have to wait. Aidan, all right, go ahead.
My pick is Lob City, and my reasoning is Lob City.
Well, we have to hyphenate it. God, he's already breaking the rules. Trent, go ahead.
I go Lob City, and I have 2 words, Noah West.
No, it has to be hyphenated, so no cheating. And Noah can be. Come on now, don't break the game yet. It's the first matchup.
Noah.
All right, a clean sweep for Lob City. Now the second game will be our 4-5 matchup: the Halfway Crooks and the Cold Hearts. I should do a better job at breaking this down, but it was the Halfway Crooks by 8 in a close one in week 7, so a couple weeks ago. So that's who won the regular season matchup. We'll reverse the order. Trent, you already teased it, so you kind of broke it. But one word, and who you got?
I got Halfway Crooks. If they can get their full team.
No. That's like 7 words.
My fault. Just Halfway Crooks. Because of Joey.
There you go. Trent is broken. He's a broken man. We will see if we can get him back. Aidan, go ahead.
I'm also going to pick the Halfway Crooks. I can't say defense like Trent did, so 3-point shooting.
Okay. That's okay.
I know it's multiple, but it goes together.
Going off the rails. Threes, 3-pointers. Come on, I'm strict on this damn game, guys. It's a one-word game for a reason. Brandon, go ahead.
I'm going to pick the Cold Hearts, and I think locked in.
There's no thinking. Okay,
locked in.
Okay, all right, yeah. There's no thinking going on. It's one word. Evien, okay, go ahead.
I think it'll be a really close one. I'm gonna go with the halfway crooks, and I'm gonna say efficiency.
Okay, all right. It's off the rails. It's off the rails early. All right, so that was 2 and 2. No, halfway crooks. 3 and 1, right? Three for the halfway crooks, 1 for the Cold Hearts. All right. After that, at 9 o'clock, is our 2-seed Washed Up Boys and our 7-seed Air Mambas. We'll flip it back the other way. Evien, who you got?
Go with the Washed Up Boys, and my one word would be Hendo.
Okay. The semi-easy way out. Smart choice. Brandon?
Also going to go with the Washed Up Boys, and my reasoning, threes. They're going to shoot a lot of threes.
All right. You got a lot of hyphens going on. All right, Aidan, who you got?
I also have the Washed Up Boys. Intensity is my word.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Trent?
I got Air Mambas upset.
All right. 1 for the Air Mambas. Trent, I'm just going to I should just mark the clip right now. We'll post it online and we'll hang. All right. Well, we'll see if he's right. We'll see who's right next week. All right. Upset. I didn't see that coming. Last matchup. The Road Dogs, our 3-seed at 10 o'clock, 10:15, take on the 6-seed RI Warriors. Trent, who you got in your one word?
Road Dogs. Kevin.
Okay. Yeah, Trent is not feeling this freaking game. All right, Aidan, go ahead.
I'm also going to pick the Road Dogs. Experience.
Okay, over the RI Warriors. Brandon?
I'm going to go with the Road Dogs, champions.
Okay, yep. Evien?
I'm also going to go with the Road Dogs and dominance.
All right. So it's a clean sweep for the Road Dogs, a clean sweep for Lob City. We had a 3-1 edge for the Halfway Crooks and the Washed Up Boys, thanks to Trent. Trent, his name is Trent Washington. You can find him on Instagram. You can DM him directly if you would like to. All right, it's all good. All right, well, we know. All right, let's do it. Let's get to everyone's finals picks. I'll give you a little bit of time. So you're going to pick which 2 teams, right? And so these semifinals, if every higher seed was to win, okay, this is important for you to pick your correct last 2 teams, right? So think March Madness. So it would go Lob City versus the winner of Halfway Crooks Cold Hearts, right? Would be the top side. And then we'll just do the higher seeds. The Washed Up Boys and Road Dogs would face. Those winners would play in the semifinals on the bottom half, and then the winners of those would meet in the finals. Okay, so you're going to pick 2 teams that can actually make the finals. You can explain it a little bit, and also pick your champion, right? So your finals teams and your champion. All right, Brandon, you're on the spot. Go ahead.
I'm going to go with Lob City versus the Road Dogs. And I'm going to pick the defending champion, Road Dogs, to beat Lob City. Bold take, but I know I said you got to be scared of Lob City, but I think that the Road Dogs are a team ready for the challenge. As we all know, they're the defending champions, and I think that they're going to really want to keep that streak going to two years as the champs. I think they're going to want to keep it, and I think they're going to want to show Lob City and give them a run for their money.
All right. Yeah, and those 2 teams, let's see, they played recently. Lob City Road Dogs, a 2-point game in Week 7, and so a close matchup when they played. And so, all right, we have 1 for the Road Dogs over Lob City. Evien, who you got?
Got the same teams, Lob City and Road Dogs in the final, but I'm going to go with Lob City. I think they just showed that they're too deep. They have so many great players all across the board, and I think they'll end up being the champions.
Not a word. I mean, I like the pick, and you may very well be correct. It's so funny. Not a word you would think we would be talking about with Lob City, who sometimes has 4 or 5 guys available to play, right? But I understand your point, because the 4 or 5 guys they have may be the best 4 or 5 guys combined in the league right now, And so depth is a word that can mean a couple different things, and I totally, Lob City. All right, a vote for Lob City. Trent, are the Air Mambas going to win it all?
Absolutely not. But everybody took my answer in the Road Dogs. But I'm going Lob City, and I'm just going to make it short and simple. They got the best player in the league in Noah West. He's better than everybody in this league. He's dominating every single buddy. It could be 1-on-5. He's that good.
All right, so it would be Lob City over Road Dogs, right? Okay, just to get it on the record there, right? Because, I mean, once you pick against, you can't have, the washed out. I got it. You guys get what I'm putting down. There's some good defenders that match up kind of well with Noah, but haven't been able to slow him down. So we will see what some teams can do. Aidan, who you got?
So my obvious pick to make it there is Lob City. I was going to go with the Road Dogs for the second team, but I'm going to be a little different, and I'm going to pick the Washed Up Boys to make it to the finals against Lob City. I think they kind of want it, and I hope that they're a little hungrier, but my finals pick for that is Lob City. I'm not going to bet against an 8-0 team in the finals. I can't do that. They're proven to be the top dog in this league for the last 10 years. 9 years, 9 seasons, 10 seasons. Doesn't matter. They're number one.
Yeah, so 3 for Lob City and 1 for the Road Dogs. We had a Washed Up Boys appearance, none for the Halfway Crooks. Just like to sum that up. The best part about this show, very good job, guys, I don't have to make a pick. This is great. As the host, you're not going to make me do it. And I never do, which is great. But I'm excited. We got some good playoff matchups. I can't wait for Trent to be there to watch his Air Mambas. They're going to be ready to go, and we just got to get him. I'll get him a little Air Mambas memorabilia for during that game. Maybe I actually, it's funny. I have some extra stuff that we can make him represent over there. But so the quarterfinals are this Tuesday, followed by the semifinals, finals, and our All-Star night. We'll be announcing all of that stuff shortly. But first, the playoffs, a full night of quarterfinal action. We'll see who was right. We got them all on record here. It's all recorded, guys. So good job on the show. We'll be back next week, and stay tuned for the bracket, which is out now. We'll be doing more stuff, more highlights. The top play this week, it's a good one. It's a very good one. So, stay tuned for that. And everybody, thanks for watching.